Alright, so I'm going to be filming in here because it is freezing cold outside, but this is kind of an interesting gun. This is like a mix of a whole different type of stuff. So, this is an Avengers, I think it's marketed as M4, which is basically OEM. It seems to be Lancer Tactical. The reason why I say that is because it's got a Lancer Tactical gearbox and hop-up and stuff like that. It does have an S&T grenade launcher, so this is just a mix of a bunch of different stuff. But if you go and look on eVike and look up Lancer Tactical M4 or Avengers M4, these pop up. And it has the Moen Abe, I don't know how to say that. It's got that logo on there, and they sell different versions. In fact, I didn't even see this version on there. But they sell versions with a rail system. I don't know if it's plastic or metal. They're all under $200, so they're all budget-minded guns. But I'll get into the details on the internals a little bit later. But for around $200, these are absolutely incredible. I don't know how much this one retails for because it has the grenade launcher, but this is a cheap grenade launcher. It's S&T. It's pretty much all plastic besides the tube here, and that might even be plastic too. It's pretty plasticky, but this is a fully functional grenade for shells. It's not like a Springer, so you can buy shells. I don't think it came with one. Put it in here, and that's actually pretty cool now that there's 40 mics, so you can straight up just give somebody the 40 with a 40 mic grenade launcher. Other grenade launchers are trash. The ones that just shoot like BBs, like just a burst, like a shotgun burst, and they go like 30 feet. Those are absolute trash and not worth it. 40 mics are freaking cool. Also, tag-ins, the ones that actually explode, are freaking awesome too. So this would be nice for a tag-in if you want to pop that in there and shoot that off. If you go to like a milsim or something like that. That would be cool as heck. But I'm just going to go ahead and talk about the external features. So starting from the front, we got an orange tip with a metal outer barrel, metal triangle sight with a mostly plastic S&T grenade launcher. And then there's the trigger there for that, which has got some metal components. The top of the handguard is your standard handguard, because it's the way it attaches. Now, thankfully, they didn't try to front wire it or anything stupid. It's rear wired. So, you're going to get a plastic body on this, which is pretty comparable to the Lancer Tactical Gen 1s. Just the cheaper plastic bodies. Even the Gen 2s now have plastic bodies that are pretty decent, just like this. This has a little bit special surprise on the internals that the Gen 2s don't come with, only the Pro lines come with, and I'll get into that a little bit later. So this is like a mix mash of a couple different guns. They're basic, and then they're top end, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, basic like dust cover here, which doesn't seem to want to shut. Okay, I don't really care. Charging handle, extended latch there, fake bolt with the red Pro-Win style hop-up. It's the Lancer Tactical Gen 2. There's no movement in the hop-up at all, so it's nice and firm. They seem to be pretty good quality. It's a brass inner barrel. I think they're 603s, and the buckings seem decent. They're not amazing, but they're pretty decent. We'll get an FPS reading out of this, but I'm hoping it's close to 400 because it seems like it's got a heavy spring. Triangle or carry handle is even plastic. That's real cheap. Stock is plastic, and the buffer tube is plastic, so it's like their cheaper model gun. It is rear wired to Tamiya, and it does have enough space in here for a 2,000 milliamp nunchuck, no problem, or 1200s in each tube, so you got plenty of battery storage. Now, what I was talking about on the internals, this is a mix of a couple different things, it seems. When I pulled this out of the box and started firing it, I noticed the reset is super short. Click, reset, click, reset. Normally, these micro switches click like back here and then reset up here, click back here. This I noticed, and I could shoot it faster. And I thought to myself, does this have the Lancer Tactical MOSFET now? Lancer Tactical, the micro switch MOSFETs, just like the Ares Amoebas. And it seems to have that. I have not taken it apart, but here's what I think they did. This gearbox in here is the exact same gearbox that is in the Pro line. It's also pretty similar to the gearbox that comes in the standard Gen 2s. The difference is the MOSFET is in this one, and in the Gen 2s, the non-Pro lines, there's no MOSFET. There's just basic trigger contacts. But everything else is universal. Metal rack piston, red nozzle, tappet plates, cheap Chinese gears with a sector chip on it. All of that is the same on all the Gen 2s and the Pro lines. The difference between the Pro lines and the cheap versions, the Pro lines have a MOSFET, which again is what this has. The standard Gen 2 cheaper ones don't. They have standard trigger contacts, basic setup. The Pro lines also have an upgraded motor from what I've heard. From what I've heard, it's a neomagnet motor. It's upgraded, blah blah blah, in the Pro lines, and obviously the Pro lines have metal gearbox or metal bodies as well. This one is like a plastic body, like the cheaper one, but it has the high-end MOSFET, but it has a cheap motor. So it's like they mixed a bunch of different stuff together here. The motor in here is garbage, absolute trash. There's no torque on it. The magnets are so ineffective. It's so weak. So I ripped that thing out of here right away, and I put a KRYTAC 30K in here. It's a used one, and it shoots a lot better. So if you buy this gun, please switch the motor out, because apparently this is not going to come with the Pro line motor, but it's coming with the MOSFET from the Pro line. So it's like, again, a mixed match. You're getting a cheap motor with the great gearbox with the MOSFET inside, instead of the cheap trigger contacts, the standard stuff. But again, you are getting a cheaper motor. So this is like in between. It's a nice gun. I fully recommend getting one of these, the Avengers. Again, it's got Lancer Tactical internals, and from these ones, the Avenger ones that have these logos on it, they all should be coming with the MOSFET, because that's what this has in there. And on the description on e-bike, it says the exact same thing. Micro switch trigger, and then it says integrated MOSFET, and that's the Lancer Tactical. That's their new stuff. So that's what this has in it. The trigger response is okay. Out of the box with the standard motor was crap. It is cycle completion, so the spring and the piston's always forward, so there's no pre-cocking, so it's pretty slow. But the rate of fire is still pretty slow. It's probably 20 rounds a second with the KRYTAC motor, and even slower, probably 15 with the stock motor. So if you buy this gun, switching the motor is a must. You can get a SHS high torque for $30, and it will perform better than this 30K KRYTAC motor. Much better. For only $30 more. And that is the easiest part to replace on your AEG. As far as internals, the motor change, because all you have to do is take this off and then adjust the motor height. Okay, so here's the chrono test. I got a high cap full of .25s. I do have the hop up adjusted for 2.5s, and it's over hopping just a little bit. 352, 354, 351, 351, 354, 351, 352, 354, 353, 354. Very consistent on FPS. Not only that, it's high. That is 1.46 joules with a 2.5, 355 roughly, 350 to 355, which is exactly 400. So you're getting the most energy out of this gun that you possibly can for an outdoor field, which is absolutely perfect. Let's switch to full auto. This is an almost dead 11.1, but I'm just going to give it a chrono here. Let's do another one. 18 rounds a second. That's not bad. I will shoot it with a fully charged LiPo as soon as it gets off the charger, but I just want to go ahead and get this thing chronoed real quick. But again, 352 FPS, we're seeing pretty much 400 with a .2, which is awesome for outdoor. Perfect. Finally, not a outdoor designated gun that's shooting like 360 with 2s. None of that crap. I like to see a 400 out of a 14.5-inch barrel like this. And obviously, it being the Lancer Tactical Gen 2s, it's going to have a quick change spring system back inside of the receiver there, and you don't even have to remove the gearbox in order to change the spring. So you can go from 400 with the .2, throw like a M100 in here, and go back to 350, 340 for indoor use. You can do that so easily with this system, and it's awesome. But any high cap's going to feed in the gun fine, so that's what we're going to use here. As you can see there, you can actually shoot it pretty quick. There's no cap. It seems that there's no cap on the rate of fire, like the newer Ares Amoebas. It seems like you can span the trigger. Now, the trigger pull is pretty long. The reset's pretty short, though, but the trigger pull itself is pretty long, and it's a curved trigger, so it's not the easiest to shoot super quick, but if you do shorten the trigger pull or change gears, motor, and other stuff like that, it'll just get quicker and quicker. You can shoot it fairly quick. There's no cap on that, whereas with the Ares Amoeba, it would be skipping. So let's go ahead and keep firing. Again, this is with the KRYTAC motor because the stock motors absolutely poop. But if you were to get like an SHS high torque, it would be quicker than this on semi-auto, and the rate of fire would probably be a little bit quicker as well because these KRYTACs don't have as strong a magnets. As far as range, these are .25s, and it's probably hitting about 180, maybe 200 feet with 2.5s. Again, we're seeing 400 FPS out of this thing, so it's shooting pretty hard. So the range is pretty decent. So as you can see there, the rate of fire is quicker than when I was using the smaller battery. I chronoed this with this 2000 milliamp, and this KRYTAC 30K, it shoots 23 rounds a second. So actually pretty impressive. It runs pretty dang good. So a recap, I highly recommend whatever these guns are. Again, they're marketed through Avengers, but they use the new Lancer Tactical Gen 2 gearbox with the MOSFET inside of this particular gun, and it's going to be that in all of the Avengers. But if you want one of the Lancer Tactical MOSFETs, you're going to have to buy the Proline series or the Avengers series here. The standard Lancer Tactical Gen 2 that they say doesn't come with the MOSFET. It just is the other internals, the other upgrades. So if you have any questions or anything, let me know. I apologize I couldn't use this grenade launcher. I don't have any grenades for it, but it's basic grenade launcher. As you can see there, it's got the pin. So I would imagine these are pretty decent. If you're buying this gun and you want to know how good this grenade launcher is, go look up it's an S&T Armament grenade launchers and look at a review on those. But it seems to be pretty decent. It is mainly plastic. That's pretty much it. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll see you in the next video.